Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ. I have your questions today from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag NoDQturns20. So let's go ahead and get started. First one today comes from Kit. Yo, Aaron, with AJ versus Samoa Joe set for SummerSlam, how do you feel seeing this match happening in WWE, as 10 years ago it would have been impossible to even see it happen? Plus, can you see Joe going over, as I feel he needs this win a lot more? First of all, I'm very happy for this match to finally be happening on pay-per-view in WWE. It is a match that even 5 years ago I did not think was possible in WWE, so it is very cool to finally get to see this match. They had a very lengthy history with each other back in TNA. And of course, that triple threat match with Christopher Daniels from Unbreakable 2005. A lot of critics say it's the all-time greatest TNA match. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. There have been plenty of good AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe matches over the years. The question is, will WWE allow them to have the kind of match that fans are hoping for? That remains to be seen. Now, as far as who wins this match, my gut feeling is AJ Styles is not losing the title until January at least. I have this feeling that AJ is going to break CM Punk's record as the longest reigning WWE Champion of the modern era. And this is the WWE title, not the Universal title. Obviously, Lesnar already surpassed Punk's number, but AJ could actually do it with the WWE title if he stays champion into January. I would like to see Samoa Joe win the title. I'm a huge Samoa Joe fan, and I feel like he would have a good run, and he does need it at this point. He needs something. I think it's time. I think he's the top heel. I say go with it and just push him as a monster. But I just think that AJ will more than likely retain. Maybe there's a chance Joe wins at SummerSlam and AJ wins it back at Hell in a Cell. But if Joe wins the title at SummerSlam, I say just keep it on him. Otherwise, I could see AJ staying champion until at least the Royal Rumble. Perhaps he'll stay champion until WrestleMania if WWE has long-term plans, which we all know they usually don't. But AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE title. Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble. Could happen. I would not rule that out of the realm of possibility. Let's just put it that way. This one comes from Cruz, at Cruz Bandicoot. Can the case already be made that Charlotte is the best WWE female superstar of all time? She can already run rings around Trish Stratus and Lita in their prime when it comes to wrestling and promos. That is definitely a valid argument. I think Jeff Meacham might agree with you on that, and I feel like I'm leaning towards that. I think Charlotte is well on her way. I'm not sure if she's at that level yet. Trish Stratus and Lita were major stars. Were they the best wrestlers in the world? No, but both of them were very charismatic, and both of them had very lengthy runs in WWE by the women's standards. Keep in mind, during that period, WWE would bring in women for maybe a year or two and then replace them with other women. Trish and Lita actually had a good 6-7 years, which compared to the women of that era, they did not have that much of an opportunity to really have a lengthy run. So in a way, it's like comparing Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan even to Bruno Sammartino. Just they're products of different eras. But Charlotte, as far as this women's revolution goes, she has definitely lived up to the Flair name. She has been tremendous, and I think if she stays healthy and she keeps the momentum going and she's in the business another 10-15 years, she will go down perhaps as the all-time greatest female performer And we'll just have to see how things play out. But she's well on her way for sure. Got this one here from Shaw Doug. Do you think that WWE is going to have Stephanie McMahon maybe screw over Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam to protect Alexa Bliss? I think so. I would not rule it out. Stephanie really hasn't made that many appearances other than around WrestleMania, but at the same time, how do you get past this match? Some feel it's still too soon for Rousey to win the title, and there's an argument that she's better off chasing for the title. So that is a way out by having Stephanie interfere, citing WrestleMania, trying to get her revenge, and WWE keeps Ronda chasing for the title. Maybe eventually she challenges Charlotte for WrestleMania next year. That's a possibility. And if you put the Raw Women's title on Ronda, then she's busy with something else and Charlotte's over on SmackDown. But of course, you could always do a champion versus champion match too. So there are a lot of possibilities. I would not rule it out. It could definitely happen. And if you're coming up with a screwy finish to keep the title on Alexa, that is certainly one way to do it. Got this one here from Joshua Anderson. With the all-women pay-per-view, wouldn't it have made sense to have Renee Young and someone like Beth Phoenix announcing it? From what I've heard, there has been interest from Renee Young in possibly doing announcing at this show. I think it's a nice touch. I would definitely like to see a female on the commentary team. They could have Michael Cole and Corey Graves and then maybe Beth Phoenix or Renee Young or somebody. One would think Renee Young will definitely be there in some capacity doing the backstage interviews and whatnot. They'll have JoJo or somebody doing the ring announcing. But yeah, I think it would be a nice touch to have a female play-by-play or a female color commentator for this all-women's pay-per-view. Would WWE even go as far as to have all the commentators be women? That is certainly a possibility. Maybe it'll be Renee Young and Beth Phoenix. Who knows? But the thing is, that is a bit of a risk. That might be putting too much pressure on Renee Young with the lack of experience doing the play-by-play. But at some point, you got to take the chance and go with it, and they either sink or swim. If it is something that she does want to do, I say go for it. I say try something different and shake things up. Why not? Got this one here from Converse Craig. With the women's pay-per-view official, do you now see possibly a women's match headline WrestleMania next year if the pay-per-view is a success, since WrestleMania is in the same market? I don't think it really has anything to do with the market, but like I've said before, with Ronda Rousey and WWE now, I feel the odds of a women's match closing WrestleMania are stronger than ever. WWE could have done it this year, but they chose not to. They chose to put Roman Reigns in the spot, and we see how that worked out. So next year, like I said earlier, Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. That, to me, is a money match. That could be the main event for WrestleMania next year. It would certainly generate a lot of publicity, not just because of Ronda Rousey, but her opponent, Charlotte Flair. A lot of people recognize the name Flair, and I think Rousey versus Flair is a marquee match for WrestleMania. I could definitely see that headlining. In fact, if any match is going to close WrestleMania that's a women's match, that seems to be the one. And I say strike the iron when it's hot. It feels like that's going to be the match that WWE goes with, and if they're going with it, they might as well make it the main event instead of doing Roman Reigns for the 5th straight year. But who knows what they're going to do. Got this one here from Haley. I'm such a huge fan of Sanity, and I'm extremely angry at the handling of them since their main roster debut. But my question is this: with Sanity now officially buried, do you see them becoming SmackDown's answer to the Ascension? I would not go as far as to say they've been buried yet, but certainly I would have booked them stronger than they've been booked. They're already losing, and they've only been wrestling on television for about a month now. It was one thing when they lost that one match, but then when they lost this week in the first round of the tournament, at least if they're going to lose, have them lose the second match. I just feel like it's not doing them any favors. They need all the momentum they can get right now as a new act. As soon as an act loses, they tend to lose some momentum. Look at Asuka. And I think with Sanity, I would have had them go on a bit of an undefeated streak, keep them strong, let them win some squash matches even, just build them up for a good 6 months on television. They come in, they start losing, and the fans are just going to lose interest in these guys pretty quickly. That's the problem with not giving them a lengthy push against squash talent, enhancement talent, however you want to say it. That's the problem with not doing that, because if you do that, at least you drill into the heads of the fans that these guys can beat up a lot of people. But when you have them come in and right away they're losing, then the illusion is that these guys suck and they really don't belong on the main roster. So yeah, I definitely feel WWE has been misusing them, but at the same time, I don't think it's too late for them. I think they can still rebound from this. I don't think they're at ascension level quite yet, but they're treading some dangerous water, I will say that. Got this one here from Turbonius. I've been watching Raw from 1999 and watched Owen Hart's Memorial edition of Raw. Which Memorial or Superstar's death hit you the hardest? It was absolutely 100% Owen Hart, because Owen was a complete innocent victim here. A lot of deaths really hit me hard, but at the same time, a lot of these guys had some personal issues. They made some bad decisions, and those bad decisions caught up with them. In Owen Hart's case, he was a guy that was just doing his job, and there was an accident. And to me, that is just the saddest story possible. And it really hit hard, because Owen Hart was that guy that was very well liked by the fans and his peers. And he had a great run in WWE. So when that happened all of a sudden, it was just a complete tragedy. There's no other way to say it. And for me, that was definitely the absolute saddest death in wrestling, and in my opinion, the worst moment in wrestling history in terms of real life things that happened. That has to be at the top of the list. This one comes from Ivan. Hey Aaron, hope you are doing well. With Roman Reigns moving on to face Brock Lesnar again at SummerSlam, then what was the point of Lashley beating Reigns at Extreme Rules? There was no point. This is the problem with this kind of booking. WWE is booking these matches so that you don't care about the outcome. When Lashley wins, you care about it, but then WWE just erases it by having Reigns win. And in the second match, that's the important one, because that's for the number one contendership. Reigns wins. Reigns is going to SummerSlam. Unless Lashley gets added to the match, to me, that win at Extreme Rules was a complete waste of time. And it just makes the fans not care, because if they see this situation play out again and again, eventually they are going to smarten up and say, hey, why should I even invest in this match when I know it really doesn't mean anything? WWE could just do 50-50 booking and go with whatever direction they want the next week. So why do wins and losses matter? And if they don't, why should I even care about watching it? Why should I get emotionally invested? And I could see a lot of fans feeling that way after Extreme Rules. I think it's a bad idea to do booking like this, because eventually, like I said, the fans are going to smarten up and the numbers will continue to dwindle. They might be slow, but over time, I think those numbers are going to start declining. People over time will continue losing interest in WWE as a product. And WWE will continue to stay in business. They're doing great. But I'm just not a fan of this. I don't think it's wise in the long term. I don't think it's a good idea to just slowly bleed out your audience and just slowly lose viewers one at a time with this kind of booking. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ Video. Thanks as always for watching. I appreciate your viewership and support of NoDQ.com. Stay tuned to NoDQ for the very latest regarding SummerSlam. Buy a t-shirt if you would like to support the website over at NoDQ.com/shirts. And I will see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ Video.